There's something almost provocative about this idea, and many people turn up their noses when they hear it for the first time. While you sleep, your financial life may be being built or sabotaged. Most people believe that money depends only on effort, hours worked, and sacrifice. But what if that were only half the truth? What if the biggest mistake wasn't in what you do during the day, but in what you think about in the minutes before you close your eyes? Perhaps you've already felt this without realizing it. Waking up tired even after sleeping, starting the day already emotionally behind, as if you're always chasing after something. Now imagine the opposite, waking up with clarity, with different ideas, with a strange feeling that something is falling into place. Does it seem exaggerated? Controversial? Well, that's exactly the point. What almost no one has told you is that the mind works more when you switch off than when you force it. Napoleon Hill observed this by studying people who consistently prospered. It wasn't luck, it wasn't chance, it wasn't a miracle. It was method, an intelligent use of the most neglected moments of the day. And the counterintuitive statement is this: those who learn to end the day well begin to wake up differently, and those who wake up differently begin to see opportunities that have always been there, invisible to most. The question is simple and uncomfortable. What if your next financial breakthrough didn't depend on working more, but on thinking better before going to sleep? In this video, you'll understand why small changes at night and in the morning create disproportionate effects on how you think, decide, and act. It's not an empty promise. It's a deep understanding of how the mind truly works. And when that becomes clear, the game changes. But be warned. This knowledge only makes sense to those willing to look at invisible habits that shape visible results. If you continue to the end, you'll understand exactly where to start, even today. The most overlooked moment of the day, and the most powerful. There's a curious detail that almost no one notices. The last mental state before sleep is often treated as emotional garbage. People lie down, scroll through their feeds, complain about life, revisit bills, problems, and frustrations. And here's the irony. This is precisely the moment when the mind is most open, most impressionable, most suggestible. It's not the day that defines the future, but how it ends. It's there, in that silent interval between tiredness and sleep, that invisible seeds are planted. Those who understand this begin to treat the end of the day as sacred territory, not out of cheap mysticism, but as a strategy. It's like making a clear request for someone extremely efficient to work while you rest. The mind doesn't shut down. It reorganizes, connects, and searches for patterns. The mistake isn't sleeping, it's sleeping on autopilot. And when someone changes just this small nighttime habit, they start to notice something strange happening in the following days. Different perceptions, out of the ordinary ideas, opportunities that previously simply went unnoticed. Wealth rarely begins in one's pocket. It begins in one's mental climate. And the most fertile climate of the day isn't the busy morning. It's the quiet night. Those who ignore this keep repeating cycles. Those who learn to use this moment begin to break them. And here's the intriguing point. If the end of the day has all this power, what exactly should be done in those final minutes to guide the mind in the right direction? That's where the next point starts to get really interesting. Why does the mind work harder when you switch off? There's an interesting paradox that almost no one notices. When the body slows down, the mind enters a deep construction mode. While a person sleeps, something silent happens. Connections are created. Ideas are reorganized. Solutions begin to take shape. It's like leaving a computer running a heavy program overnight to wake up with the result ready. The mind does this naturally. The problem is that almost no one chooses which program is running. During the day, the conscious mind is critical, questioning, and full of filters. At night, these filters lower their guard. It is in this state that beliefs are reinforced or replaced. Those who sleep harboring worries hand their subconscious a list of problems to solve. Those who sleep with clear images handed a map. It's not magic, it's mental functioning. The curious thing is that many people have already experienced this without realizing it. That solution that arises upon waking. That idea out of nowhere. That sudden clarity. The difference between those who thrive and those who stagnate lies not in effort, but in the direction of internal processing. The mind always works, with or without permission. The silent question is it solving problems you've chosen, or repeating old patterns? When this realization dawns on you, the next question naturally arises. If the mind responds to commands, how do you give the right instructions before going to sleep? That's exactly where the next point begins to change the game. The nighttime mistake that keeps people trapped in scarcity. There's a silent habit that sabotages more financial lives than lack of talent or opportunity. It happens in the dark, a few minutes before bed, when a person believes they are finally resting. In practice, they are mentally repeating scarcity dialogues. Bills, fears, comparisons, internal phrases that seem harmless. This is the moment when many pray to the problem, not the solution, without realizing the impact this will have the next day. The curious thing is that no one has taught most people how to end the day intelligently. They believe that thinking a lot is a sign of responsibility, when in reality it's a lack of mental direction. The mind, without clear command, always returns to what is most emotional, and fear is usually louder than hope. This pattern, repeated night after night, creates a strange feeling of effort without progress, like rowing hard and not getting anywhere. I've seen hundreds of times hard-working, honest people, full of potential, but trapped in an invisible cycle. And the most intriguing thing is that the antidote doesn't require more work, but rather a simple change in the type of thinking that occupies the last minutes of the day. The question that remains is direct and uncomfortable. If repeated thoughts shape results, what kind of command should replace this nightly noise? That's exactly what the next point begins to reveal. The power of clear instructions given to the mind. The mind doesn't fail, it simply misinterprets confused commands. Most people desire vague things. More money, a better life, less worry, and expect specific results. The problem isn't the desire, but the lack of direction. At night, when the mind is most receptive, imprecise instructions generate equally imprecise responses. It's like asking someone to travel without telling them the destination. When someone learns to speak clearly to their own mind, something changes. It's not about repeating empty phrases, but about offering understandable images and intentions. Napoleon Hill guides his readers to think like mental architects. Every detail matters. Value, deadline, feeling, context. The mind responds better to maps than to loose dreams, and this explains why some people seem to get lucky while others just wait. The most curious point is that giving instructions requires no effort, only awareness. A few well-spent minutes before bed can organize hours of internal processing during the night. And when the mind awakens with this organization, the decisions of the following day change in an almost imperceptible but powerful way. The question that inevitably arises is, if instructions shape the future, how do we reinforce this programming so that it becomes natural and constant? That's what the next point begins to tie together. The invisible reinforcement that consolidates new results. Good instruction without reinforcement becomes just fleeting enthusiasm. The mind learns through emotional repetition, not through isolated events. That's why some people even try to change their thoughts at night, but quickly give up when they don't see immediate results. The invisible detail lies in the reinforcement. What is revisited with emotion takes root. What is ignored disappears again. Reinforcing doesn't mean strenuous effort. It means intelligent consistency. Recalling small victories, acknowledging subtle advances, and internally validating any sign of progress creates a powerful cumulative effect. The mind needs proof, however simple, that it's going in the right direction. When someone recognizes a success, even a small one, they send the subconscious message that that path deserves to be expanded. Over time, this reinforcement changes how a person perceives the world. What once seemed like chance begins to make sense. What previously went unnoticed begins to attract attention. And here a crucial point arises. When the mind begins to expect different results, the behavior of the following day adjusts automatically. But there is one last detail that connects all of this: the exact moment when this programming begins to manifest itself upon waking. That's where the next topic closes the cycle in a surprising way. The first few minutes of the morning set the tone for the day. The morning doesn't begin when you get out of bed, but with the first thought you allow into your mind. That instant still carries the echo of the night, when the mind is open, flexible, and highly impressionable. That's why the first few minutes after waking up are so crucial. Those who start the day on autopilot accept any external stimulus. Those who start with intention take control before the world interferes. Many people wake up and, without realizing it, sabotage all the work done the night before. They pick up their cell phones, consume negative news, and delve into worries and emergencies that haven't even truly begun. This isn't a lack of discipline, it's a lack of awareness. The mind is still malleable, and what enters first usually defines the emotional and mental rhythm of the following hours. When someone learns to protect that moment, even if only for a few minutes, something subtly yet profoundly changes. Visualizing the day flowing smoothly, anticipating solutions, feeling gratitude before the rush creates an invisible advantage. Decisions become clearer, attitudes firmer, and opportunities easier to perceive. And here's the inevitable hook. When night and morning begin to work together, what happens to the results over time? That's what begins to be revealed in the next point. When night and morning begin to work in your favor, consistent results emerge when two strategic moments of the day begin to communicate with each other. Night plants, morning waters. When these two periods are aligned, the mind enters a continuous, almost automatic cycle of construction. It's not extra effort, it's the right direction. Most people live in broken cycles. They end the day badly and start the next even worse, without realizing why everything feels so heavy. When someone begins to end the day with intention and start the morning with awareness, something silently adjusts inside. Choices become more coherent, energy shifts, attention sharpens. At this point, the person begins to act differently without realizing they've changed. They speak differently, decide differently, react differently. And the world responds to this internal change with opportunities that seem like coincidence. The most interesting thing is that this alignment creates a cumulative effect. A well-ended day facilitates a better morning. A well-started morning improves the next day, and so the cycle strengthens. It's at this stage that many people look from the outside and say, "That person was lucky." But those who experience it internally know it's not luck, it's method. And here arises the inevitable question that ties everything together. If small daily adjustments produce big turnarounds, how to start today simply, without complicating things? That's exactly what the video's introduction will prepare you for. Now that all of this is clear, the question that really matters isn't whether it works, it's whether you'll apply it. Because knowledge, when it stays only in the mind, becomes elegant entertainment. But when it becomes a habit, it becomes real transformation. Think honestly. How have you been ending your days? On autopilot, exhausted, worried, or with intention? Small, invisible decisions, repeated daily, build results that seem too big to be a coincidence. Perhaps you're waiting for the right opportunity, the ideal moment, the perfect turning point. But what if that turning point begins tonight, exactly as you end your day? What if tomorrow morning isn't just another rushed awakening, but the start of a different cycle? It's not about changing everything at once. It's about changing the command. The mind always obeys. The question is, who have you been giving the direction to? Now I'm really challenging you. What's stopping you from trying this for a few days? What do you have to lose by ending the day with more awareness and starting the morning with more intention? How many ideas, decisions, and opportunities might you be ignoring simply because you've never prepared your mind to recognize them? Sometimes, the biggest external change begins with an almost imperceptible internal adjustment. If this content resonated with you, don't let it end here. Subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and keep learning how to use your mind strategically, practically, and in an applicable way in your daily life. And comment below, what habit are you going to change tonight? Your next phase begins with a simple decision, and it can be made now.